What's up, y'all? Welcome to Donta Storytime. Today, I'm gonna give y'all two stories. That's right, two stories in one video. The first video is gonna be about a prison boss that was having his way in prison, and the second one is gonna be a little different. It's gonna be about a man in Beaumont, Texas, right, that had a supernatural experience on this land. Well, y'all just stay tuned.
Ah, shit. Here we go again.
So they take me out the hole, and now they got me on the elevator. I'm like, man, what block y'all put me in? It's like, we ain't put you in a block. You going to C dorm. So I'm like, C dorm? They like, yeah, you going to C dorm. I'm like, all right, man, whatever. So I'm like, is there any bloods in there? He like, no, I don't think so. It might be one or two of them. I'm like, all right. So when I get to C dorm, I'm looking around. You know, there's guys over there playing cards, dudes over there walking the track, dudes just lounging around. I'm just sizing everybody up, right? So I noticed it ain't no problems up in here that, you know, that I done seen. So I just go ahead and go to my cell, right? Now, I ain't got no cellmate. So I'm sitting here on the bed and I'm thinking like, you know what? No, I'm finna go out here and establish dominance right now. Cause they got me messed up. They got me all the way messed up, right? Now, in the prior story I told y'all, you know, somebody snitched on me. I think it was the Bloods, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think it's the Bloods because I moved in on some of their business. And instead of them going to war with me and my crew, somebody dropped a dime on me. And, hey, it could have been the Bloods, but I'm not 100% sure. But then again, you never know. Because me and my crew was putting pressure on everybody up in there. Nevertheless, I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and get this on out the way. So I leave out my room, right? And I go by the phones. And I'm like, hey, y'all, listen up. Listen up. So everybody got to looking. I said, check this out. Ain't no drugs gonna be sold up in here. Ain't no liquor gonna be made up in here. Ain't nobody gonna be having no phone time. Matter of fact, I took the phone off the receivers and I put them down. I said, anybody use these 3 phones right here? It was 10 phones, but I had the first 3 phones. I said, anybody touch these 3 phones without paying me a toll, that's what it's gonna be, right? So I said, matter of fact, my cell is right there. Anybody that's in here moving that pack, which is the drugs, come holler at me. Anybody in here that's making that jungle juice, which is wine or liquor, whatever y'all want to call it, my cell is right here. Come holler at me. Anybody that's moving anything up in here, I don't care if y'all running a store, come holler at me. Because if I have to come holler at you, that's what it's going to be. So then I go back in my cell, right? Next thing you know, this dude come to the cell named J-Bo. And he like, hey, you said anybody that's, you know, selling liquor here to get at you, what's up? I said, come on in here. I said, what's your name? He's like, my name J-Bo. I said, where you from? He was like, oh, man, from Tennessee. I said, okay. So you got the liquor? You holding down the liquor in here? He like, yeah. So then there was another knock at the cell door, and it was a dude named T. Now, T was controlling the drugs in there. But I said, yo, hold on. Give me a minute, man. Let me finish talking to homeboy right quick. He said, all right. So I'm like, so what's up, man? I said, so how much liquor you be turning out in a week? And he was like, shoot, bro, I do like 1, 2, 3, about 4 gallons a week. I said, how much you be selling your cups for? He like, well, I usually sell them for like a pack of noodles. Like, that's one commissary item. So I'm like, all right. I said, well, check this out. I'm not gonna really put it down on you like that up in here, but I'm gonna have to hit you with like a 25% tax. And he like, 25% tax? I said, yeah. So basically, every 4 cups you sell, I need 1 cup of it. So we basically gonna do, you sell 4 cups, I got a cup. So that means if you sell 4 packs, well, you sell 4 cups, you get 4 packs of noodles, I need a pack of them noodles. So he was like, all right, bet. I said, all right. So he was like, well, I just sold 8 of them, so I got you 2 cups of noodles. I said, all right, bet. So he went to go get it. So then T came in. Now, T was the guy that was selling, moving drugs in a pod. So I told him, like, hey, listen, this what we gonna do. Now, I'm against, the sale and distribution of narcotics, because I'm just not with that. But, I ain't gonna tell you how to program, but I'm gonna tell you this. You got maybe, I'm gonna give you 1 week to get rid of what you got, or you gonna have to check up out this dorm. And he was like, what you mean? I said, you got 1 week to get rid of what you got, or you gonna have to get up out this dorm. He was like, hey, man, I ain't trying to, I don't tell you what to do. I said, hey, listen, man. So I got up, right? And I pulled out the sword of justice. He was like, hey, man, listen, man, only got 3 years. I ain't trying to go there with you, bro. I said, well, you heard what I said. You either got a week to get up out of here, or, because ain't nobody selling no drugs in this dorm. And he was like, all right, man, I'm going to just check out, man. I'm going to check out. All right. So he left out. So then I walked out my cell and I'm like, who got the stove? I said, yo, who got the stove in here? For those that don't know what the stove is, it's basically an inmate that got a lot of commissary. He stocks up on a lot of food and hygiene. And in this prison right here, you only can catch the stove once a month. So dudes be eating up their food in 2-3 days and be out here hungry and always borrowing. So this is why store man exists. And you know how typically it's like this. If you give somebody a bar of soap, they got to give you back 2 soaps, right? You get somebody a soup, they got to give you back 2 soups. Me, how I was programming, I ran a cold program, man. If I didn't like you or whatever, my program was, if I give you 1 item, you got to give me 3 back. And I just let cats know this off the rip, like, yo, it's, if you don't, you came to me for these items. So if you don't got what I need when it's time, it's going to be a problem. So I zeroed in on the store guy. So I walked over there. I knocked on the cell door. I was just going to walk in because, that's just how I was cut back then. But I said, you know what, let me show this dude just a little bit of respect, whatever. So I knocked on his door. And he said, oh, what's up? What's up? I said, let me step in here and grab your ear right quick. So he was like, all right, what's up? I said, man, you got a lot up in here, bruh. He's like, yeah, man, I've been doing this for a year now. I said, what's your prices? He was like, oh, man, I do, 1 for 2 or whatever. And I said, word? He said, yeah. I said, what you gonna hook me up? He like, what you mean? I said, show me some love. I just got up in here. He was like, what you mean show you some love? I said, let me do 1 for 1. And he was like, 1 for 1? I said, yeah. He like, you mean 1 for 2? I said, no, I mean, let me get an item and I'll pay you back that exact same item. He was like, so I don't get nothing? I said, yeah, you get your item back. He was like, nah, I don't think that's going. I said, hold up. So I peeked my head out the cell and I looked to my left and then I looked to my right and I pushed back up in the cell and I pulled that sword of justice out. I said, look, I already know about you because you ain't really about that anyway. I can look into your eyes and see it. I say, either I'm going to take what I want about this cell or we going to strike this deal. Now, the way I see it, you only got 1 choice. Well, you got 2 choices, but you only got 1 choice that rules in your favor. Either you take this knife and then get applied to your skin, or you gonna let me get these 10 ramen noodles in these Fire Mountain dues, and I pay you back. That's my word. I'm gonna give you back the same items I got. Right now, I just can't pay you back, but even then, I wasn't gonna pay you back anyway, more than I took anyway. So, what's happening? He was like, all right, man, go ahead, bro. I said, all right. And he was like, hey, could you not like let people know what just happened? I said, man, listen, man, what we got going on is our business, man. Ain't nobody, man, whatever, man. You ain't, man, chill out. So I turned the wire and I walked out the cell, right? So then I go to my cell and I'm just chilling. So I'm laying on the bed and I get a knock at the door. I'm like, what's up? It's this small Mexican guy, dude like 5'2" or whatever. He said, hey, man, my name is blah, 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 blah. Hey, I can get you with anything that you want to hear, man. I said, what you mean get me anything I want? I got everything I want and need. He said, no, I'm not talking about that. Do you got a phone? I said, nah, I ain't got no phone. Why? What's up? What they going for? He like, well, I got a phone for $1,500 and he got a phone charger and everything. I said, all right, bet. I said, let me see it. So he came back like 5 minutes later with the phone. And I said, all right, bet, good looking out. So he's standing there. I'm like, hey, I said good looking out. He like, well, what do you mean good looking out? I said good looking out, and I get the fuck away from my cell. So he was like, you got to give me the money. So I said, hold up. And I got up out the bed, right? And I walked towards him. I said, hey, matter of fact, so I grabbed him. I grabbed him by his shoulders and threw him in my cell. I said, hey, check this out, man. That phone right there, it's my phone now. Then I picked up a knife and I put it in his hand. I forced the knife in his hand. I said, if you want that phone back, you're going to have to take my life right here, right now. He was like, hey, wait a minute. Then he dropped the knife. He said, hey, wait a minute. I don't want no problems, man. I don't want no problems, amigo. I said, nah. And I dropped down and grabbed the knife again. I forced it back in his hand and I put it towards my chest. I said, if you want this cell phone, you're going to have to slit my throat. He was like, hey, man, you crazy, Holmes. You can keep it. Keep the phone. Now, let me tell y'all something. Back in them days, I was like that. I had nothing to lose. You know, I just got out the hole. These guys snitched on me, took everything from me. So it turned me to something that I didn't know I had in me. Yeah, I had my crew before I got put in the hole, but you know, one thing I realized, man, a lot of these dudes were soft in here. So I just figured, yo, why not go to the extreme? Why not exert my dominance all over these inmates' paws? If they ain't gonna do nothing about it. So that's how we got here. Anyway, make sure y'all hit that like button and share this video. I'm out. So Ronnie Bo ended up coming to the slammer with us because he ended up putting his hands on his wife. Now we gonna get why Ronnie Bo was in here locked up, but she was on the phone with another man basically moaning, and y'all put two to two together. They was having phone, you know, intercourse or whatever. This story right here is gonna be just a little different, y'all. This is one of them stories where when I heard the story, I was like, I don't know about this one. But there was a guy by the name of Ronnie Bo. Matter of fact, this is what he looked like right here. That's Ronnie Bo. Ronnie Bo was from Beaumont, Texas. All right. So Ronnie Bo ended up coming to the slammer with us because he ended up putting his hands on his wife. Now we gonna get why Ronnie Bo was in here locked up, but this story is way deeper than that. So Ronnie Bo ended up getting locked up because he found out that his wife was, what can I say? she was on the phone with another man, basically moaning. And y'all put two to two together. They was having phone, intercourse, whatever. And Ronnie Bo found the messages in his wife's phone, and he confronted her about it. They got into an argument. She denied it. Then she said, yeah, I'm lonely, this and that. And he ended up going to the liquor store, getting a bottle of Jack Daniels, and end up, boom, bam, bam, thank you, ma'am, on his wife. And now he in here with us. However, I was in a cell with Ronnie Bo for 2 weeks, and he told me a very, very weird story about Beaumont, Texas, where he lived at. So there's a part of Beaumont, Texas, there's these trailer parks, whatever. And him and this girl lived in a trailer home that was like at the edge of the trailer park, whatever. So he said like one day he thought it was like an earthquake going on, because he'd feel like these tremors underground, like the ground would be shaking, whatever. So he said that happened maybe like 3 or 4 nights in a row. So he really didn't pay no mind to it, whatever. But he said it just kept happening, kept happening. Now, Ronnie Bo has some livestock, right? He had sheep, ostrich, and I think he said he had goats or whatever. And he had them in their own separate pen, right? And he said every night these, like, it'll be holes in the ground, and one livestock or 2 will be gone. So he said he first thought it was maybe coyotes, or he thought it was whatever it could be, whatever. So he said one day he set a camera up, a hunting trail camera, to watch the livestock. So he said he seen one of his ostrich walking, and then next thing you know, something grabbed it and pulled it underground, right? So what he said, he kept looking at the tape, and it's just like something just grabbed the ostrich and pulled it all the way. Now, ostrich are huge. Ostrich, I believe, get up to maybe 5, 6 feet or whatever. And whatever this thing was, he just grabbed it and brought it down. Now, he said when he went to go look at this hole, it was like a sewer hole. When he said that it was deep. It was deep underground. So he said he, called the cops or whatever, and they like, oh, Ronnie, because, Ronnie is known to be an alcoholic. Ronnie is known to, down them Jack Daniels or whatever. But anyway, so yeah. So Ronnie comes to tell me one day that he kept feeling it, night after night. So he says, so one day he actually went out there. Yeah. Ronnie Bo ended up going out there one night, and he was like outside the pen. And next thing you know, he felt a tremor or whatever, and then he seen it. Now, the reason why, I don't know if y'all remember that movie Tremors. Do y'all remember that Tremors? That movie called Tremors, with them grabloids. They call them grabloids, that these things will grab people or whatever and bring them underground. This exactly what he said. Now, he said he didn't see it, but he said that there was a goat or a sheep or whatever, one of his livestock. He said it was right there, and the next you know, the ground opened up and something grabbed it in. He said he didn't get a good look at it, but he said that whatever it was grabbed it, and it's like he was just struck in fear, and he heard the tremor noise, like the vibrating quake noise or whatever, and it went off in the distance. So that got me scratching my head. And I'm like, that ain't for real, Ronnie? He said, yeah. Let me know, especially you people out there in Texas or like Idaho or Wyoming and, these rural places. Let me know. Do y'all got similar stories like that? Matter of fact, even if y'all up in the city or something, do y'all got any like weird unexplained stories or whatever that y'all can't explain that happened to y'all? Let me know in the comment section, all right? So anyway, he's telling me this story, and he's like, what's your opinion on it? And the first thing that I thought about was the movie Tremors. That's one thing I could think of, because what else is that big living underground? You think about a groundhog, but groundhogs, they are what? They not carnivores. They don't eat meat. One would say, well, maybe it was a big boa constrictor or some type of snake. No, not moving that fast and causing earthquakes with little quakes in the ground or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, I mean, they say that. I don't know, man. Because we never know what's really underground. We don't know what's in the oceans. We don't know none of these things. Then if one thing I was thinking about also, y'all, the scientists tell us that the Earth core, and just pay attention, they say the Earth core is hot, like it's lava, right? It's super hot, right? I got a problem with that. And I'm going to tell y'all why. Just stay with me, y'all. We finna enter the Terror Dome. If the Earth core is super hot, why as deep as you go in the ocean is super cold? Don't you think that the ocean floor would be boiling? Think about that. Just think about that. I mean, it's just basic. It's basic knowledge. Right now, think about it like this. Cut your stove on. If you got the gas light where the fire come out of the stove, you see the fire, and that represents the so-called Earth core, right? Get the pot, put water in it, right? You see what I'm saying? It heats up. So my thing is, why is it cold? Why is at the bottom of the ocean floor, right, which is closest to the center of the earth, right? Am I making sense? Or is Dante tripping? Just really think about that. Now, back to Ronnie Bo. Do I believe Ronnie Bo? I mean, when Ronnie Bo wasn't drinking, he seemed like he has a sound mind, that Ronnie Bo got it together. But Ronnie Bo couldn't put down that Jack Daniels. That's why Ronnie Bo was in here with us, because, he couldn't put down that Jack Daniels. But anyway, let me pose another question for y'all too right quick, since we're on that topic. I'm going to put it out there myself. I'm going to answer the question myself. But this is the question. Is it cheating if you're sexting somebody and you're in a relationship with somebody? I'm going to say it is cheating, right? Is it cheating if you have a phone SCX with somebody? I'm going to say it is cheating. Some people out there may think that since you're not doing the physical act, that it's not. But hey, I guess it's a question to be asked, right? But anyway, y'all let me know in the comment section how y'all feel about this. Also, if you watching this video and you didn't get my notification, unsubscribe to the channel, subscribe back to the channel, and hit that notification bell, all right? Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit that like button, share this video. Got some raw stories coming up. I'm out. If you enjoyed this story time, make sure you leave a comment, hit the like button, and share the video. Until next time, take care.